Hi friends, I hope that you're well. Today I'm going to be answering a question which I receive a lot, and that's how to start a travel vlog. Now, I feel like I've brushed on tips here and there about starting a YouTube channel in previous videos, but this video is dedicated to the topic. These are my in-detail tips on how to start a travel YouTube channel, or to be fair, you can probably apply a lot of these tips and techniques to other niches of YouTube channels as well. The very first thing that I have to mention is your intentions have to be in the right place. If you are wanting to start a travel vlog or a travel YouTube channel only because you think you're going to be able to travel for free one day and make shit tons of money off YouTube, honey, you've come to the wrong place. You are never guaranteed success on YouTube, no matter how entertaining you feel like your videos are. So I would recommend only starting this if you genuinely want to do it, you enjoy it, and if it was only at the most a hobby, you would still continue because you love doing it. Editing takes hours, planning, uploading, making thumbnails are all part of the process, and you don't get paid for any of this. You're doing all of this work for free, but it doesn't feel like work if you enjoy it. So if none of this is fun to you and you're only doing it in the hope of becoming a YouTube celeb, well, good luck to you. So the most successful channels usually have a niche. Even lifestyle channels tend to have a niche or something more specific of some description, whether that's the way they make a video or the way that they are created. But you need to discover your niche, and if it's travel, that's great, but travel is still very broad, so try and think of something within travel that's a little more you. At the same time, or something that might help you think specifically about what your niche is to think specifically about the kind of content that you want to create. Is it going to be exploration vlogs? Is it going to be travel tips and advice, travel films, travel documentaries? How are you going to present this information or this content? Are you going to be talking to the camera, or will it just be visuals and music? Are you going to be filming whilst you're out and about, or are you just going to be filming sitting at home? A few people ask, do I need to be out there traveling to start a travel vlog? And absolutely not. You can talk about your plans, how you're planning your trip, your bucket list, your reasons for taking a gap year. I don't know. You can literally talk about anything, and we all have to start somewhere. If you still don't know exactly the type of thing that you want to create yet, that's okay. I like to think of my YouTube channel as a massive experiment, to be honest. I feel like I've made all different kinds of videos and I'm still trying to figure out which one I like best. But where does the creativity derive from? For me, I get my inspiration from other YouTubers, from TV, film, documentaries. Everything that I watch nowadays, I watch actively as opposed to passively. If I've seen something that's triggered an emotion in me, I go, wait, what did they just do that's made me feel this way? How has this creator made me feel like this? Because that is the ultimate goal, really. You want to make your audience feel something. For me, I want to make people feel happy, inspired, and motivated. Those are my key three things, personally. So when I see other people's content that makes me feel like that makes me feel happy, inspired, and motivated, I'm like, right, what have you done here? What have you done that's making me feel like this? And how can I apply this technique into my videos? It could be the way it was edited, the music that was used, the way a topic is spoken about. There are so many little things that you can do to make people feel a certain way, and taking inspiration from other people isn't copying. Unless you literally copy them, don't do that. You're identifying the technique that they've used and applying it to your own work in a way that works for you. Also, with finding your niche and creating content that's interesting and different, play to your strengths. What can you do that not really many other people can do? What makes you special? Also, what do you wish to see on YouTube? Even looking at YouTubers who you like, there might be something in their video which you just think, oh, I didn't quite like that. What would you have done differently? What would you have liked to have seen? And it's gonna take a bit of research on your behalf to figure this stuff out, but once you have, boom, there is your niche in the market. I feel like I'm rambling and I haven't even got far into this video. Back to the point, how to start a travel vlog. Maybe now you've got an idea of what your niche is gonna be, what type of content you want to create, how you want to make people feel. Now start thinking a little bit more specifically about your video ideas. Each video that you make, in my opinion, should have a purpose. And this is what's going to be the title of the video. This is what people are going to be searching for. This is very important if you would like to start building a following. Searchable content. Imagine yourself in the position of the people that you are wanting to target. What are they typing into their search bar? That is your title. It's also really important to know the purpose of your video before you start filming it. This is a filming tip really, and it may seem obvious, but a lot of beginners don't do it and they wonder why they struggle so much. It is so much more difficult to start vlogging or making travel videos if you have absolutely no idea what the end result is going to look like. In an ideal world, you will already have in your head before you start filming what the beginning of the video is looking like, what the middle is looking like, what the end is looking like, and what the message of the video is. And what the vibe of the video is. Is it super happy and high energy, or is it quite slow and reflective? Is it lots of talking, or is it mainly cinematic? How are you tying everything together? Is there going to be a certain transition that you want to use throughout the video? Do you want to say certain things in certain locations? Is this just like a daily travel vlog, or is this a proper travel guide with info and tips and practicalities? Do you know what I mean? You need to be able to answer these questions before you start filming because, well, then you know what you need to film, and editing is going to be so much easier for you. Something that I want to stress at some point in this video, so I'm going to slot it in now, is do not strive for perfection. Do not compare yourself to other people, especially if you're just starting out, because no one starts off perfect. How can you possibly start off perfect? Content creation is trial and error. It's repeating the process and seeing what works for you. If your very first piece of content doesn't look like Sam Calder's, don't stress, he didn't start at that level either. Everyone gets better with practice, so my advice is just to give it your best shot, put your content out. You can always delete it a couple of months later if you want to, but personally, I like to leave all of my work on my channel because then I can look back now years later and see how far I've come, see how much I've improved, and for me that's a massive achievement. Another thing about content creation on YouTube, which I actually haven't heard many other people talk about, is how to approach a video where you are stating your opinion on something. First of all, I believe that you should always back up your opinion with facts and evidence and give your audience a reason to understand why you have this opinion in the first place. And then always address the opposing opinion and why you don't have that opinion, especially if it's a controversial topic. The reason that this is important is because at the end of the day, everyone who watches your video is not necessarily going to have the same opinion as you, is not necessarily going to agree with you. But if you have respectfully addressed what their opinion might be, instead of driving that viewer away, you're letting them know that they've been acknowledged, which will hopefully mean that they'll stay to watch future content because they feel included, essentially. I hope that makes sense. Anyway, that's enough about content for now. Let's get started on practicalities. A YouTube channel, a travel vlog is video content. You are gonna need a device to film on. If you don't have a whole lot of money, which is normal and fine, it is totally acceptable to just start filming on your phone. Especially at first, the content is the most important thing. I started filming my videos on my very old iPhone 5, and some of those videos now have over 100,000 views. An easy tip, even if your camera quality is low, is to always film facing the light. So facing the window if you're inside, preferably without direct sunlight on your face. An overcast day is actually perfect for filming. And definitely avoid filming at night or using just like the lights in your house unless you have proper softbox studio lights, because it just doesn't look as good. If you do want to invest in a camera, even if you are just starting out, which isn't unreasonable because a camera can be great for so many things, my all-time favorite compact vlogging camera is the Canon G7X. It's high quality, it films in 60 FPS, which means that you can slow down your footage by a half. It has auto stabilization, it has autofocus, it also has a flip up screen so you can see if you're in frame when you're filming yourself. It's literally perfect for filming yourself. And it also can take some killer long exposure shots as well, which is insane for a tiny little camera, so I highly recommend that one if you're just starting out. My other recommendation would be a GoPro, especially if you're very adventurous, you love being in the water, or you do lots of adventurous activities, because a GoPro you can mount to pretty much anything. And the audio is pretty good on a GoPro these days as well, so you can vlog with it, and it's got this wide angle view so you kind of never miss a moment. And GoPros now you can actually film up to 120 FPS, which means you can slow down your footage up to 3 or 4 times, which is amazing for cinematics. I wouldn't start with a DSLR, to be honest, unless you're really into photography. I had a DSLR early on in my travels and my YouTube career, and I hated it because it was too bulky for me and I just wasn't serious enough about YouTube at that point in time, so it just pissed me off. And then I got the Canon G7X and I was like, yes. Now I've moved to a bigger camera, but definitely do not feel the need to get a bigger camera at first to start a successful YouTube channel, because it's 100% not necessary. A final thing that I will recommend that's not essential but will make your life a lot easier is to have a tripod. Now personally, I think the most versatile tripod you can get is the Joby Gorillapod. Yes, it's small, but you can wrap it around pretty much anything and just place it on anything. And so no matter where you are, you can find somewhere to stick it, essentially. It's great for GoPros as well and shooting time lapses, or if you just want to set down the camera to talk to it in the middle of wherever you might be instead of having to hold it up like this. I actually think it's a really nice touch when you're able to put down the camera and talk to it. For me, watching that feels quite personal. You can also get mounts for your phone to stick on the top of a tripod. So again, even if you don't have a fancy camera, you can still use the tripod for your phone, which will make your life a lot easier. But you know, even if you don't have this tripod, get creative. You can prop your phone up places, prop your camera up places, stack things up. You would actually probably be very surprised at what some of the biggest YouTubers use as their setups. It's probably not as glamorous as you'd expect. Your audience can't see what's not on camera, so it really does not need to be a picture perfect setup for you to be a good YouTuber. I want to show you my setup right now. Ta-da! This is what my camera's sitting on. Really good. A couple of people have asked whether it's necessary to get a drone or not. And honestly, if you really like drones are your thing, that's something you really want to do, then by all means go ahead. But drones are a faff and they're expensive, and even the small ones now still take up space in your bag. They're a faff to charge, taking up loads of energy. Often you need an actual flying license to fly it in popular areas, or a lot of popular areas are now restricted. I could go on. For me, to have a drone is not worth the faff. I'm just a terrible drone pilot for starters, but also I don't think that drone footage adds that much value to my content because I'm not a cinematic travel vlogger. There are some incredible drone videographers online who will get all the views. So if you want a drone because you think it's going to increase your views, the chances are quite slim because the market's very saturated. Everyone has a drone these days. So unless you're absolutely undeniably incredible, you're not going to stand out. So anyway, that's my opinion on drones. Get one if you really want one, but telling it to you straight, especially if you're just starting out, you do not need a drone to make good quality travel content. People travel on the ground at the end of the day. When you backpack, you're not even in the sky. So essentially, those videos are false advertising of what it's actually like to travel that place. Now, unless the style of your videos is just posting raw footage, which is rare, it's uncommon, then you're going to need to do some sort of video editing before it goes up online. If you are new to editing, I definitely recommend starting out on a free software, and you can even get some of these on phones and tablets these days, but it will make your life a fair bit easier to have a laptop with you if you're able to travel with one. On Windows, you've got Windows Movie Maker. On Macs, you've got iMovie. Both of these programs are great for beginners in my opinion. I think I used Windows Movie Maker for about a year when I first started out, then I moved to iMovie for about 3 years, and I'm now on the pro version of iMovie called Final Cut Pro for about 2 years now. I know I keep saying it, but I am going to be making at some point in detail a video on how I edit my travel vlogs, so do look out for that. But I do have some basic tips for you here now. Try and make your cuts as concise as you can. People watching YouTube have very short attention spans, so try and just cut out big lots of thinking time or especially if you're building an audience who don't know you, your audience is likely to lose interest. Adding music to your videos can be a really great touch. Ideally, you want some copyright-free music. There is a whole library of this in the YouTube Creator Studio, which is free to all YouTube content creators. You really want to do this because if you've used a pop song in your video, and let's say that video just happens to get thousands or millions of views, you're going to lose out on a lot of money later on down the line. Whereas if you've used a copyright-free track, all that money's coming to you. Just try and make sure the music fits the mood of your video. This is really important in triggering those emotions, like whether it's sad or whether it's happy or reflective. And don't be afraid to chop up music. Like if you just want to use the first 5 seconds of a track, go ahead. Or if you hate a part in the middle of a piece of music, you can completely get rid of that. The good thing about copyright-free music is that most people have never heard it before, and so they're really not going to notice when you're chopping up this piece of music. And also, don't be afraid to use different tracks in your video, especially if the mood changes. Like, maybe it starts super happy and exciting, but then something terrible happens, and then I don't know, I'm just making things up now, but do you see what I mean? If there is something editing-wise that you really want to know how to do or want to be able to do, literally just look it up on YouTube. YouTube tutorials are amazing, and there's pretty much a tutorial for anything that you want to learn. That's literally how I learned to edit. That and trial and error of my own work. a lot of trial and error. Now, travel vlogs usually require travel at some point, and I often get asked, how do you afford it? How do you afford to make a travel vlog when you're just starting out? All travel vloggers, all the ones that I know anyway, start the same way, and that is saving up for your first big trip like any other backpacker. Start creating content on that trip or before or after, and literally just continue to do that process. There are a couple of exceptions. For some travel vloggers like Lost LeBlanc, who is very talented, very savvy, literally just saved up a lot of money to go traveling for the first time, and he started creating incredible content from the get-go, and I believe he never had to go back to a normal job again. That's just how he started. He's just been traveling fairly continuously since the start. But for most vloggers, I'd say, however, like myself, it takes a fair bit longer than that. I think it took me 3 to 4 years before I started making money from my YouTube channel, and that was 3 to 4 years of literally just saving up money, going on a trip, making content, going back home, temp work, saving up money, going on another trip, new destinations, new content, new ideas. Even now, I'm arguably not a full-time YouTuber because I still do freelance video producing for other people, and that's a big source of my income and how I am able to save up money to do more of my own channel and create more content for this channel. The cool thing is that a lot of that work I can do remotely, which means that I can earn money as I'm traveling a lot of the time. I've been asked a lot about other jobs that you can do as a digital nomad where you can travel and work. If you literally just Google digital nomad jobs, you will see so much information, a lot better than I could ever give you. So just have a look through, see what takes your fancy. If you really think it's something that's possible, learn the skills, take a course, teach yourself, be proactive, and get yourself started as a digital nomad. It's never really easy. You have to make some sort of compromise and you've got to work hard, but this is what people do. This is what everyone does in order to make their dreams happen. The other big way to work and travel is, of course, working holiday visas. I've spoken about these, especially Australian working holiday visas, so much on my channel. And you know, you've got a whole year in an incredible destination to make all different kinds of content, but you're also earning money. So it's a really sustainable way to start a travel vlog and make consistent content. How to get over vlogging in public? There is no easy answer to this, if I'm honest, other than you kind of just have to get over it. You literally just have to not care what other people think. And I find it much easier when you have a more discreet vlogging camera like a GoPro as opposed to holding up a big DSLR. But what you've really got to think though is you are never going to see these people again. Even if they're looking at you weird now, they're going to forget you in 30 seconds and you are never going to see them again. It really doesn't matter. Also, it does look totally normal on camera when you're vlogging in public, so just embrace it for the sake of the video. You will actually look a lot less weird if you're talking to your camera with loads of confidence rather than if you kind of get it out and you're talking to it really quite shyly. That's going to look a lot more strange. So, you know, act confident and normal questions. If you really can't possibly talk to a camera in public, then what you can do is just make sure you get some killer B-roll whilst you're in the public location, and then you can add some sort of voiceover or way of tying it all together when you get back home, when you're in the privacy of your own bedroom or whatever. I actually probably do that more often than you might think, especially if it's particularly windy in public or the audio is just horrific for whatever reason. As well as using a tripod, like I mentioned before, the other thing that you can do to film yourself when you're by yourself in public is to ask a stranger. It's a bit easier when you can offer to take their picture first and then you can ask them if they'll do the same thing for you. If I'm honest though, even when I am traveling solo, I am very rarely out and about by myself. I'm nearly always with someone who I've just met at the hostel, or maybe being on a group tour, or someone else who I might have happened to meet, where it's a bit easier to ask that person who you kind of know to help you out with the camera. I must say though, you can never expect someone to help you out with your camera or be patient with it. You have to be nice to them, maybe treat them to a coffee or something if they have been helping you out. It's also not always going to be great when you give your camera to someone who has just got absolutely no idea what they're doing, even if they want to help you out, which can be quite frustrating, but there's nothing you can do about that, and that's what makes this job really quite difficult. You gotta work. I'm not gonna lie, finding the balance between filming and just enjoying the location I am in can be quite difficult. What I try to do now, and what I've kind of learned works best for me, is before I even arrive in a location or at the activity, I already have in my head the kind of shots that I want to get there. So I I know at some point when I'm there, I'm going to dedicate 5 to 10 minutes to getting those particular shots, and then I'm going to put the camera away and I'm just going to enjoy it. That is easier said than done. So alternatives you could do is bring a tripod and literally just set it up in the background, just seeing the overview of whatever you're doing, or just have your camera somewhere really accessible. So it's away, but you know, if at any point you want to film something, you can literally just whip it out like that, and you're not faffing and wasting extra time and spoiling your time there. But it's not easy to find the balance. If you have decided that you want to film something, then you already know that your headspace is not entirely going to be there and present, and you're not going to entirely be able to enjoy the experience as someone who's not filming. But it's part of the job, that's the hobby that you've decided that you want to do. And that's a big reason why a lot of YouTubers, I think, get burnt out as well, because you never relax. Your brain's always on, it's always thinking about the next shot. And if you're not filming the whole time, then you're wasting time. But if you film everything, then editing's going to be an absolute pain in the ass. Yeah, it's not easy. But for me, just planning what I'm going to be filming before I get there is so much better, because then you can relax for a bit. You can be strict with yourself and say, I'm just gonna have my camera out for this very small amount of time, and then it goes away, and then you can enjoy it. Question: I want to start a travel vlog, but I'm embarrassed as to what people might say when they see it. My response to that is, you just have to get over it. If you make content that you are proud of, and you should always be proud of your content that you post, then you have no reason to care what other people think. Promote your content with pride, and if anyone doesn't like that, honestly, they are not worth your time. Normally, people will only make fun of or mock your content if, one, they're offended by it, try not to offend people, or they're jealous, and they're jealous of the fact that you're doing something with your life and they're not. If they're actually not interested in the video, they'll just click away and they won't care, and they'll forget about it and they'll go on with their life. And if people do like what you're doing, well, those are your supporters, and they're the ones that you can focus on, because they're the people who you probably have mutual interests with, and they're the people who appreciate you. If you really want to start making videos, I just say go for it, and don't care what anyone thinks, because the haters don't matter. And once you have put your content online and you want to start reaching a bigger audience, how do I get more views? How do I get more subscribers? First of all, I'm going to go back to my very first point here. Please don't obsess over views and subscribers. YouTube is a very unpredictable platform most of the time, which will really get you down if you're obsessing over views. I didn't stress when I first started out. I think it took me literally like a year to get my first 100 subscribers. And when I got there, I was elated, because I wasn't comparing myself to the people with thousands and thousands of subscribers. I was just stoked that 100 people had enjoyed my videos enough to subscribe. That made me feel great. But you are more likely to get views if you are creating content that people are searching for. Especially the keywords of your videos. Make your keywords phrases that you think the people who you want to see your video, what they're going to be searching for. What are they typing which you want them to see your video? Make those phrases your keywords. Share your videos on Instagram and Facebook. The more people who you can get over to your YouTube, the better. And yeah, it most likely will just be starting out with your friends and family, but that is literally how most people start. Comment on other people's videos, and not just like sub for sub, because that gets put straight in spam comments anyway. And also don't say, hey, love this video, I have a YouTube channel as well, I'd love if you check it out. That's still spam and it's annoying. Comment something supportive or inquisitive or relatable or thoughtful, or something that you think might get quite a lot of thumbs up. If you have an eye-catching little picture and a catchy name, that is much more likely gonna make people see it, want to click on you, and potentially subscribe. And there you have it. Those are literally all my tips to starting a travel vlog. If you are thinking about it for the right reasons, absolutely go ahead and do it. It's probably the best thing that I ever chose to start, and it can be incredibly rewarding as long as you enjoy what you're doing and you remember the reasons why you're doing it. I didn't make this video because I wanted to put people off, but I do want to manage your expectations, because there are a lot of people who get disappointed because they are just expecting fame and fortune and it doesn't come to them, and then they think, oh, well, I've wasted my time. If you're doing this for the right reasons, then you will not waste your time. I did get quite a few questions about the business side of travel vlogging and making money and all of this. I didn't want to address any of that in this video, but considering making a whole nother video on that topic. But I probably need to get more experience in the area myself, to be honest, so but perhaps a video for the future. I really hope you enjoyed this video and learned something new, and I will see you in the next one. Bye! I've been waiting such a long